All right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is Monday, September 9th, and the Yankees were taking on the Royals in Game 1 of a 3-game set. Carlos Rodon was going for a career-best 15th win, and the Martian was back in the Bronx. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Welcome to the New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out.
Hey, pull me back, kid.
It'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Big win for the Yankees tonight, and coupled with an imminent loss by the Baltimore Orioles. Actually, it just ended. They lost 12-3. The Yankees have advanced their American League East lead to a game and a half. Joining me tonight is a guy who played for both of these teams, making his Pinstripe Territory debut, Mr. Erik Kratz. How you doing, EK? Can you hear me?
I'm doing awesome. I appreciate you having me on this new show.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on. So we're going to talk a lot tonight about Austin Wells because he's going to be on foul territory tomorrow. We had a good game by Alex Verdugo on the day that a lot of us thought he might be getting replaced because the Martian was back in the lineup. But tomorrow the Yankees are going to have a decision to make. Austin Wells with a absolutely titanic blast. He also hit a double. Your guy, Salvi Perez, had a good night for the Royals. Pretty good game. How would Salvi Perez describe this game?
Well, you know, Bobby, I went 4 for 4. I didn't throw the ball very well at the bases, but, you know, we try our best. Tomorrow night, we come back out and we do good because Austin Wells, he do good for the other team, but that's not good for us. But it's okay. We just came off sweep of the Guardians. We're a good team.
Referee, one of your visitors here on foul territory says, yo, Kratzy. Kratz, of course, on foul territory every day. Let's talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon before we get into the offense tonight. Rodon's stuff was pretty good tonight. He had 9 strikeouts. He struck out 3 hitters in the first inning, had to pitch around a couple of errors that kind of jacked up his pitch count a little bit. Final line, 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. What did you see from Carlos tonight?
Strikeouts. Strikeouts is the big thing that, especially against a team that doesn't strike out much, a team that should have kept his pitch count low. Now, his defense didn't keep his pitch count low. So, to me, Rodon needs to be the guy, no matter where he throws in your playoff rotation, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about playoff rotation, not, oh, how's he going to do in the regular season? They got this guy to come in and punch tickets. And he's got, I think that graphic just showed he had 181 strikeouts. He's got a good shot at hitting 200, but they need him to be a guy that's going to come in against a playoff lineup, not just any lineup, a playoff lineup, and step up and be able to make big pitches in situations where they need him, because clearly, like tonight, they needed those punch outs because when the ball was put in play, it wasn't always executed. And that's the difference between Carlos Rodon, the free agent that they signed, and Carlos Rodon, that 1-year wonder. They need him to get back to that. I just think they need him to be a strikeout guy and hand the ball over to the bullpen, but the bullpen that is going to be put in advantageous situations, not just, Clay Holmes, the closer.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to have an ad in a little bit about this nasal stuff called Navage, which helps you sleep. And you said something about how you were getting kicked out because you were snoring or whatever. I get kicked out when Clay Holmes blows a save. I end up sleeping in the guest room because I toss and turn. And my wife says that sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll just be like, motherfucker. just
in the middle of
the night.
I've done some crazy things in my sleep, but my wife's never said that I've just blurted out the F-bomb.
Yeah. It happens on nights where the Yankees have a tough night because, I finished this podcast. I cool down for about 10 minutes. I'll have a smoothie or something and I'll hit the sack, and it's still like on my mind. It's still, kicking around in my head. So a lot of times I'll dream about baseball, dream about building the show. I remember when I was in college, I used to work at Blockbuster Video until like 2 a.m. when they would close down, and I would go home and sleep and dream about, checking out videos at Blockbuster, and then I'd have to open the next day. So it was like I was working a 30-hour shift. It was crazy. Let's talk a little bit about the Martian, because he was back in the Bronx tonight, arrived using methods of propulsion as yet undiscovered by science, but pretty decent night, grounded out to first base in his first at-bat. Second at-bat, he swung at the first pitch. I thought it was a really nice piece of hitting. It was a two-seamer kind of sinking down in a way. He stayed back on it, wide open left side, and he just took it right through the left side. A Tony Gwynn 5.5 hole hit, although it was more right at the shortstop. And then stole third base with 2 outs, scored on an error by Salvi, struck out looking on a backdoor curveball. He looks kind of lost from the right-hand side of the plate. He was 0 for 4 against Skubal with 3 strikeouts, and then tonight, struck out 4 out of 5 times so far, and then he popped out his fourth at-bat. So what do you see from the Martian?
Well, I'll put to rest the whole right-handed thing. If you went up there and you had no idea what he's hitting right-handed, yes, everyone flashed. They talked about it in the game. It's hitting 213 in AAA right-handed. He'll be fine. The swing, his approach right-handed looks good. He didn't swing at a high curveball that ended up landing in the zone. Not everybody can do what Salvador Perez did to the curveball that Rodon hung in there against him. I see a young hitter who, when he's taking his hits the other way, and this is a small sample size, it's first hit of the 2024 season, he will fit in this lineup if he can do that. He doesn't need to be a masher, but he needs to be able to get hits to then award himself some power, because you don't just all of a sudden just say, okay, well, I'm going to take this sinker and I'm going to pull it down to the short right field porch. That's not how it works. It's not a good swing.
Right.
It's not a good swing to be able to hit the ball to the right field porch. Where Wells, who we'll talk about later, hit his ball, that one went out of Yosemite.
Yeah.
So it's not just the short porch. And so for him, he needs to come to the big leagues here, show that he can get hits, and then teams will say, okay, we don't want him to just keep beating us. We got to be able beating us with singles. We got to be able to mix and match, and that's when he's going to get his hanging breaking ball left-handed. He just needs more swings right-handed. But to me, he's amazing. His speed with that package, it looks like a bowling ball running the bases.
He seems very loose to me. Like, you look at his body language, and he's just kind of, he just kind of looks loose. There's this scene I talk about all the time in this movie, Air. It's this movie about how they built the Michael Jordan shoe, the first Air Jordan. Have you seen it?
Yep.
And
I haven't seen the whole thing. Yep.
Well, there's this scene where Matt Damon is showing replays of Michael Jordan getting ready to take the final shot for UNC in the finals, and he's waiting for the ball. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's a freshman, and he's loose, and he's just like dangly. He's just like just waiting. He wants that ball. And when I see Dominguez, I see the same thing. A guy who's not tense. You watch somebody like Clint Frazier. I'm sure you played with Clint Frazier. He always looked tense. He always looked like he was squeezing the sawdust out of the bat. Dominguez, he looks loose. He looks relaxed. And I saw that from when he was in the minor leagues. Actually, when they first signed him, I saw his body language. He was just nice and free and easy. And I didn't know how to describe it until I saw that movie. And I was like, yes, he's loose. He's chill. He's not under pressure. And that's what I like about him. And that's why I think he's low-key a guy who could come up big in the playoffs, because he's got that slow heartbeat that they like to talk about.
When you sit there and you look at a playoff lineup, your 6 and 7 hitter are going to be the ones who are going to swing the series in your favor. It's about how the lineup is constructed and who you're going to pitch around. And at some point, if the lineup's deep enough where you have Stanton hitting 5th, possibly, now you look at that 6-7 spot. Who in this last month is going to prove to Boone that they're going to be in that spot? Is it Dominguez? Who knows? Things get a little bit tighter in the playoffs. I'm just saying. Clint Frazier, you're spot on. That dude had Gary Sheffield, Andrew McCutchen bat speed. but he was tense. What was his best year? If you remember, as Yankee fan, his best year was
probably 2020 when there's nobody in the fans, no fans were there.
No fans were in the stands, and that's a big thing. So if you can see that in him, I mean, Dominguez, he couldn't even rent all your blockbuster videos. That's how young he is. So I'm sure he's loose. He has no cares in the world. He's got $5 million in the bank. He's the number one prospect for the greatest team of all time.
We got to get him a better number than 89, though. So we got some comments here about Austin Wells. I want to talk about Wells here a little bit because he's going to be on Foul Territory tomorrow, so that's a plug. Everybody tune in. As a former big league catcher, I'm interested to hear, what you've seen from Austin Wells so far, not just tonight, but all season. This has been a great rookie season for him. Louis Penafiel here talking about how he could have been cost the Rookie of the Year by being platooned, but I think it's made him fresh here down the stretch, and I don't know if it's going to even cost him the Rookie of the Year because he's been playing so great. He might still win it. But huge 3-run home run tonight. He also hit one the opposite way off the left field wall. He also made a throwing error. He kind of slung it sidearm, which is something you're seeing more from catchers. Salvi did the same thing, throwing down to third base today. So I want to hear your thoughts on that, how he looks as a receiver, and what you think about his swing.
Receiving, it really doesn't matter what it looks like. All it matters is the numbers. Like, however you get it done, 1 knee, 2 knees, on your head, if you get the pitches consistently over a large sample size, they want to see 10,000 pitches. He's so successful. He has been, I think he has a 13.87 runs above average for his SLAA, which is just strikes looking above average. He's a 0.87. He has done everything and more than they expected when they drafted him. What they drafted him for was what he did, that absolute moonshot that he hit to right. And then the next time up, he goes off the wall to left. That's not easy to do in the big leagues, but they targeted him as a guy that could hit in the big leagues. Now you sit here and go, can he receive? And this is a shout out to Aaron Gershenfeld in the minor leagues. There's a shout out to Tanner in the big leagues, their catching coach.
Tanner Swanson, thank you. I was like, wait a minute. Why am I forgetting his number? Why am I forgetting his last name? But I'm sitting there going, if you can, and this is where the 1 knee thing, I think, takes bad catchers and mitigates their weaknesses, because you just work on receiving. And he's clearly worked on it so hard. And we'll talk about it tomorrow with him, because I've heard he is a really hard worker, super laid back, and super respectful. So all those combinations, he's ready to go. Like, he's ready to go, and he's out there for these guys, and you never hear a peep about guys not liking to throw to him, guys not wanting him to be back there. So for the Yankees to go anywhere, that's what he needs to do first and foremost. I think it might be a reach, him hitting 4th in the playoffs. I hope somebody can step up and he could be more of that 6 or 7 spot, and he can run into, you're not bringing your lefty in to face Austin Wells then, because they're pitching around Judge with a lefty, and that means he's getting a lefty every single time out there. He's not going to face Chris Stratton in the playoffs. And that's what I look at, where his spot in the lineup, hey, he's done awesome. I'm not saying he hasn't done, sounds like I'm hating on him, but his value to this team is going to be behind the dish, and he has done so much that I'm pushing for Rookie of the Year just because of that. There is no tougher position. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out, because Colton Cowser's had a decent year, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit. You got Wilyer Abreu for the Red Sox, had a decent year. Luis Gil started off 10-1. Where would they be? Where would the Yankees be without Luis Gil? Because he was filling in for Garrett Cole's spot in the rotation. And I think there's a little bit of recency bias, where a lot of times the awards go to the guys who finish the strongest, but I don't think you can really discount what Luis Gil did in the beginning of this season, because without him, the Yankees are a second-place team this year. Without Wells, they're probably a second-place team too. So a lot of interesting things happening with the Rookie of the Year voting this year. We're going to break down the game in just a second, but first, a quick word from the guys at Foul Territory, including Erik Kratz, about Navage. Back in about 60 seconds.
Congestion from sinuses, allergies, or a cold can be all-consuming.
That includes snoring for me. But Scotty, I found some relief from Navage Nasal Care. You've got to try this. Navage makes breathing easier. My Navage unit is a game changer for clearing my congestion fast.
Yeah, Kratz, Navage uses that smooth saline flow and nasal suction to clear those nasal passages.
It works for me, Scotty. I've noticed a huge difference since I started using Navage. I'm breathing better and the whole family is pumped that I've got the snoring under control.
We want to help you get relief from your congestion too. Our listeners can order a convenient Navage starter pack, including a nose cleaner with batteries included and 30 original salt pods. Everything you need to get started. Plus, get a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order, but only going to our exclusive URL, navage.com/foul, and using our promo code FOUL. Again, to order your Navage free cleaning kit and for full product details, go to navage.com/foul. That's promo code FOUL at navage.com/foul.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Interesting comment here from E. Lee Potcher. He says, any chance Wells and Heel split the votes so that someone else gets it? I think there's definitely a chance that happens.
Yeah, but I don't know that they're going to be taking them from Rookie of the Year is a little bit different voting wise based on than MVP. I think like you think about, Juan Soto's going to take some of Judge's votes. Nah, I don't think it's such a completely different not voting process, but like you're talking about a pitcher who is injured and you're talking about a 4-hitter for the American League East champions. And I think that's where it's going to come down to. Whoever wins the East is going to win the Rookie of the Year. I think it's going to be Austin Wells or Colton Cowser. Heel did great and recency bias. I just don't think he has enough starts left in the year to change their mind, especially if Wellsy continues to do what he did tonight and pushes this team into the playoff, into the division winners.
Yeah. Well, let's go through this game here. Royals got on the board in the first inning. 2 errors by the Yankees, one by Jazz, one by Austin Wells. Yanks got to play some better D here down the stretch, Kratzy.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Playoff teams don't give extra outs.
Yep. Salvador Perez smoked a solo home run into the bullpen to make it 2-0. You were his teammate for a while. How do you think he's maintained this production at a position where you typically get beat up and it affects your offense?
Look at his games played recently. And I always told people Salvador Perez could win a batting title. And people were like, no, he doesn't walk enough. I said, Salvador Perez, every first half of the year hits over 300. Every second half of the year, he hits like 210 because he played too much for a man who is 270 pounds of absolute beast. So now they're playing him less, and behind the dish, he's getting games at first. He's DHing. He's getting an opportunity to keep that average up, keep that bat-to-ball skills up without being exhausted. He's off his feet. He wants to catch every day. I get it. But he's an incredible hitter, incredibly gifted. So that's how he's able to keep it up. And he's really not even that old yet. He was just so young when he first started out.
Yeah. He's got that high mileage, though. He's got a lot of baseball years on him.
He does, no doubt.
Top of the 5th inning, Carlos Rodon struck out Tommy Pham for strikeout number 7, which made the Nostra Derek prediction from this morning a winner.
That is destiny fulfilled.
I'm on a streak, Kratzy. That's about 4 in a row.
What did you call?
7 strikeouts for Carlos Rodon. +7 plus.
Hey, I needed it. I need your help with the locks.
Later in the inning, there was a pop-up to right field. Gleyber Torres and Juan Soto kind of converged into no man's land. Gleyber Torres overran the ball a little bit, and I feel like he got the brunt of the blame from the fans on like social media and from the crowd. But I feel like Juan Soto could have probably caught that ball, probably should have been standing under that ball. What are your thoughts on that?
100%. And the telecast really hit on that really well. Like, they were like, this is a Juan Soto ball. And when you're playing an extreme shift, you can't expect your second baseman to get every ball. And it almost looked like when the ball went up, Soto just kind of gave his like normal, this is right to where Glaber's supposed to be. Well, Glaber was almost playing behind second base, as far as he could be behind second base, with Salvi up, and he pulls everything on the ground. And should Glaber have done better with it? Absolutely. It's a big league pop-up. You got to be able to make a better effort than get too far underneath it and it go behind you. But again, he had a long run, and that's a much easier ball for Soto.
Yeah. I think I skipped a piece. We had a 2-run home run from Alex Verdugo tonight. Got that dog in him.
It is far, it is gone.
Teach me how to do.
So they call up Jasson Dominguez, and he gets a hit and scores a run on a stolen base, and then Verdugo hits this big home run. Verdugo had a couple of hits tonight. Do you think calling up Dominguez kind of, lights a fire under Verdugo? Is that a thing?
I think it's a thing before all of this happened. When he's in the minor leagues, it's a thing. When he's healthy back from his oblique, it's a thing. And maybe Verdugo needed a reminder. He's hit 12 home runs this year. Yeah. Like, I don't see what they're going to motivate him to do. Hit a few more balls to the gap, hit a few more. Like, if he's into getting his own numbers, then calling up Dominguez isn't going to do anything. If he's in it for the team, calling up Dominguez is going to motivate him, I think. I think it's going to motivate him to just, hey, you know what? You need to lock in just a tick more. And I'm not saying he's a distracted player. I'm saying it can't hurt to have somebody pushing you. Dangle that carrot.
Yeah. Though I said Dominguez is going to play every day or pretty much every day, you have to think that some of that is just going to be getting guys days off, whether it's, get Judge a day off, get Stanton a day off. Stanton had a day off today. Judge had a half day. You can give Dominguez a day in right field and give Soto a half day off, right? There's things that you could do to keep Dominguez in the lineup. And he's fresh too, because he didn't play most of the summer. So, he's right now kind of still rounding into midseason form as we head into the playoffs. So I think it's a good move to get him up, and I hope they do find a way to play him every day. We go to I believe it was the 7th inning. Yankees put up 4 runs. Big swing of the bat from Austin Wells.
That ball is high. It is far, it is gone.
What's the mustache ride?
3-run blast. One of the biggest swings of the year. And we talked a lot about him. He's coming into his own as a hitter. Are we allowed to describe that as a mustache ride on TV tomorrow or no? Probably not.
I mean, you can describe it. I'm not sure. I have to check the SEC regulations on that one.
Opposite field double from Oswaldo Cabrera in the 8th. RBI single from Gleyber Torres. Torres has been swinging the bat pretty good. He had 3 hits tonight. He looks good in the leadoff spot. What are you seeing from Gleyber Torres?
He's not trying to do too much. What year did he have? Was it 18 that he had 35 homers or whatever he had?
2019, he had 38 home runs, but like 15 of them were against the Orioles. That was a juice ball summer.
I get that. It was a juice ball summer, but he was hitting balls the opposite field more. His swing is conducive. His second hit, I think it was his second hit when he went to right field. Or maybe he went to right field for both. Anyway, he really stayed inside the ball so much better. And I think it's something that when he's coming around the ball, it's a lot of carved balls to right field and ground balls to third base, ground balls to short. When he's staying inside the ball, it's driven to right center, and then he's able to elevate to left and pull it out of the ballpark. He's got to stay to right center. And you and I were talking about it. I'd love to hear what the chat has to say. Who's more important? Whoever hits 4th behind Judgy and Soto, or whoever hits in front of Judgy and Soto?
Yeah, that's a great question. We were talking about it, and Kratz kind of stumped me because I was thinking, you got to get somebody on base before Soto, because you don't want to have, you don't want to have two guys on when Judge comes up, right? But you also don't want to pitch around Aaron Judge. So, if you could choose to have the prototypical leadoff person, chat, or the prototypical cleanup hitter, which would you go with right now? Opposite field double for Oswaldo, RBI single from Gleyber Torres, and then booming double from Austin Wells to make it 10-4, and that was the final score. Yankees hang on to win.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win. You're a winner.
We got a lot of sound effects here, Kratzy. It gives me a break. It gives me a break. When I do a one-man show, people ask, why do you do sound effects? Why do you do these animations and stuff? It gives me a little break to get a drink of water, to catch my breath, to think about something, to find my notes, and people like it.
I'm watching it. I love every one of those. That is all Yankees Americana right there. I love it.
So we give out the belt to the player of the game. I don't think there's much of a decision tonight. Kratzy, who you got?
Austin Wells.
That's a major league mustache. That's a big league mustache.
I gotta ask him tomorrow if he put some color in that for picture day, because that is epic. I mean, I don't think so, because the eyebrows match the mustache. So I think it's real, but I need to know. I need to know if he embellished it a little bit for picture day.
There's a lot of great mustaches in Yankees history. We got Thurman. We got Don Mattingly. Reggie had a good one in the 70s. Raleigh Fingers, Catfish Hunter. Wells is up there. That is a thick mustache. That's up there with Matt Carpenter. Gardy used to have a good one. He had a good one from Giambi. But anyway, big night for the Yankees. Let's get to some final thoughts and final comments here as we wrap up a big win. Reminder not to miss Foul Territory tomorrow, daily 1 to 3 p.m. on YouTube and on Bally Sports Regional Network. Also, recording my football show tomorrow. That'll be live at noon. We're recording it in the morning. Jets right now down. Last I checked, Aaron Rodgers having a tough first game, but not as tough as last year. But, Kratzy, let's talk about Juan Soto, because that's what everybody wants to know. I feel like the Mets might make a bigger offer, and I feel like you don't hire Scott Boras unless you want the highest offer, and the Mets are a team on the rise. Do you think Soto will leave the Yankees to go to the Mets or elsewhere?
I do not.
You think he's staying with the Yankees?
I think he's staying with the Yankees. I think he understands baseball history. I think he understands his place in baseball history, and I think the Yankees are going to get bid up. I think that is totally what the Mets are here for. They're here to bid the Yankees up and make them pay, and I think it is something that he's worth every single penny.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how much he gets. I don't think he's going to approach 700 that Ohtani got, but he's going to get 550 plus. I mean, he's going to get over 50 million a year probably, or close to it. His defense being down a little bit in the second half might cost him a few bucks, but probably not too much, given that he's going to still have a 10-WAR season at the age of 26. So, hell of a year. But all right, man, I appreciate it. Everybody tune in to Foul Territory. Look, Foul Territory is awesome, man. It's come a long way since you guys first started. If I didn't work for it, I would watch it every single day anyway. And I got to say, you're one of the best podcasters there is in terms of the baseball space. AJ kind of sucks, but everybody else is all right. AJ only sucks because he gives me a hard time every day. Every day. He goes out of his way to text me to talk shit.
He does. He loves it because he can see that little vein in your head just like starting to explode. He's in there. Like you need to act like you don't even hear him, and it'll pass. It'll pass.
AJ is one of these guys where he has this front where he's kind of like, people say he's like unlikable or not a great clubhouse guy, but he's actually like a puppy dog. Like he's the nicest guy. Like he would Like if I needed a kidney, he'd probably give me a kidney. But as I'm getting the kidney, he'd be like, "Fuck you, Yankees suck." Like he would, you know what I mean? He's that kind of guy.
He would tattoo like a Red Sox insignia on his kidney as he's going to give it to you. Like he is a heel, but you are 100%. He would do anything for his friends for sure. And
Scott Braun is. I'm just offended at how smart and how high energy this guy is and good looking. Like it's unfair to be as genetically gifted as Scott Braun is. It pisses me off every day because he's so thorough. He doesn't miss anything. If I screw up, Derek, he's all over me. So it's unbelievable.
He doesn't miss a thing. I think the caffeine. I'm really surprised we don't have a coffee sponsorship yet of some kind, because the caffeine is flowing through that man's brain, and he's sick right now. So he's probably only going to stay up till like 2:00 in the morning. He is up till 4 every night.
Yeah. He sends me messages too at like 2:30 in the morning and stuff like that, which is always fun to wake up to stuff to do for work. So that's great. But get well soon, Mr. Braun. And Kratzy, we'll see you tomorrow on Foul Territory. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
No doubt.
If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.